Multiple palace insiders have now independently confirmed what observers had begun to suspect for months. Prince William and Lady Louise Windsor have been meeting privately. Not once, not twice, repeatedly. Unannounced, without official appointments, without staff briefings, and without a word to the press. That alone would be significant. But in the past 48 hours, something else happened that made those meetings impossible to dismiss. King Charles has formally confirmed the disposition of Queen Elizabeth's private jewellery collection, and the decision has sent a clear signal through every corridor of the palace. Lady Louise Windsor is receiving the overwhelming majority of the late Queen's personal pieces. This was not a spontaneous gesture. According to sources close to the royal household, the decision had been in preparation for months, and the coordination between William and Louise, now visible to anyone paying attention, is the reason it landed exactly where it did. Camilla's family had been waiting 2 years for this moment. They are walking away with nothing. Here's what we know. This is not just about who receives a set of antique brooches or a pearl necklace. This is about something far more significant. Queen Elizabeth's personal jewellery collection, separate from the crown jewels held in trust for the institution, was the most intimate material expression of her values, her relationships, and her private wishes. Who receives those pieces is a statement about legacy. And that statement has now been made. It is not just a question of jewellery. It is a question of who Queen Elizabeth trusted with her memory. And 2 members of the royal family appear to have spent months quietly ensuring the answer was never in doubt. Today, we are going to cover 4 things. We are going to look at what palace insiders have revealed about William and Louise's private meetings and what they were actually coordinating. We are going to examine the history of Queen Elizabeth's personal jewellery collection and why it was never Camilla's to claim. We are going to walk through how Charles's decision was shaped and why the timing matters. And we are going to look at exactly what Camilla's family expected to receive and how completely that expectation has now collapsed. Let's get into it. Queen Elizabeth's personal jewellery collection, what it was, who owned it, and why the distinction matters. Most people understand the crown jewels, the historic regalia and ceremonial pieces held in trust for the monarchy as an institution. Those pieces cannot be given away. They are not personal property. They move with the crown. But Queen Elizabeth also maintained an entirely separate private collection. These were pieces she purchased, inherited from her own family, or received as personal gifts over the course of her lifetime. Valued at an estimated £100 million or more, this collection included over 200 individual items, from everyday pieces she wore regularly to historically significant jewels with deep personal meaning. These pieces were hers, and when she died in September 2022, they did not automatically transfer to any institution. They passed as private property to be distributed at the discretion of her estate. This distinction is crucial. According to royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams, writing in the Sunday Express in late 2023, the private collection has always been understood within the family as a vehicle for personal expression. Unlike the formal regalia, which belongs to the crown, Elizabeth's personal pieces were a way of signalling who she valued, who had earned her trust, and who she wanted to carry something of her forward. There is a long history here. Elizabeth's own private collection included pieces inherited from her mother, from Queen Mary, and from her own aunts. Within the royal family, receiving a significant piece from this collection is not simply a financial inheritance. It is a message. Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor has been in a unique position since the Queen's death. Her relationship with her grandmother was, by multiple accounts, closer than the public ever fully understood. According to sources cited by Hello magazine, in early 2024, Elizabeth had taken particular interest in Louise since childhood, appreciating both her discretion and her genuine lack of appetite for public attention. Louise worked at a garden centre in the months following the Queen's death. She did not seek headlines. She attended engagements quietly. She grieved, by all accounts, sincerely. Prince William, 41, has understood the architecture of inheritance within the Windsor family far longer than most realize. He watched for years as questions swirled about which pieces from Elizabeth's personal collection might pass to members of Camilla's family, particularly her daughter Laura Lopes and her son Tom Parker Bowles. According to a source cited by Radar Online in late 2024, William was deeply aware that Camilla's relationship with the private collection had always been a point of tension within the inner circle. Camilla had been photographed wearing several of Elizabeth's personal pieces after becoming Queen Consort. The question of whether those pieces would eventually pass to Camilla's children had never been formally resolved. The private meetings, what insiders say William and Louise were actually coordinating. April 2025 was, according to sources familiar with internal palace discussions, when the coordination between William and Louise became most intensive. While no official meetings were logged, multiple individuals who spoke to outlets, including Closer Weekly, described a pattern of visits to Kensington Palace that could not be explained by coincidence or routine family contact. Louise was seen entering the private residential wings of the palace on at least 4 separate occasions within a 6-week period. No announcement was made, no press statement was issued, no schedule was published. Sources described the dynamic between William and Louise as one of quiet, mutual understanding. While there is no suggestion of anything other than a family working relationship, the frequency and discretion of these meetings made clear that something was being coordinated. One source told OK magazine they were not just catching up, there was a purpose to it. Everyone who was in a position to notice, noticed. This was not just 2 relatives spending time together. This was, according to sources, the quiet management of a decision that would carry significant institutional weight. The jewelry question and how William shaped it. The second revelation is more significant. According to sources close to the royal household, William had been in discussions with King Charles's private secretarial team since the autumn of 2024 regarding the formal disposition of Queen Elizabeth's personal estate items that had remained in holding. While the details of those conversations have not been made public, insiders consistently describe William as having made his views known in clear terms. While there is no publicly confirmed record of those conversations, sources told the Daily Mail in early 2025 that William had expressed a strong preference for the collection to remain within the direct line of descent from Queen Elizabeth. That phrase, direct line of descent, carries a specific meaning in this context. It does not include Camilla Parker Bowles. It does not include Laura Lopes or Tom Parker Bowles. It includes, among others, Lady Louise Windsor, the decision no one can call spontaneous. The third revelation is what makes the others matter. King Charles's formal confirmation of the jewelry distribution, announced through palace advisors in recent days, has now made official what insiders say had been decided months earlier. Lady Louise Windsor will receive the majority of Queen Elizabeth's private collection. According to royal commentator Angela Levine, speaking to the Daily Mail, the decision reflects a long-established understanding within the family about where Elizabeth's personal legacy belonged. The timing of the announcement, Levine noted, was not incidental. It came after months of quiet preparation. The coordination between William and Louise, she observed, had clearly been aimed at ensuring this outcome. This was the end of a plan, not the beginning of one. Camilla's family, and 2 years of waiting. There is real emotional complexity here, and it is worth acknowledging. Camilla Parker Bowles, 76, has spent 3 years as Queen Consort and now as Queen following Charles's coronation. Her children, Laura Lopes and Tom Parker Bowles, are not working royals. They do not hold titles. But they have been part of the extended royal family in a meaningful way for over 2 decades. According to sources cited by the National Enquirer in late 2024, both Lopes and Parker Bowles had been operating under the assumption that at least some portion of Queen Elizabeth's personal jewelry collection would pass to Camilla's side of the family. This expectation was not entirely unreasonable. Camilla had worn several of Elizabeth's personal pieces publicly. There had been no formal announcement to the contrary. In the absence of clarity, an assumption had taken root. That assumption has now been formally ended. Sources describe the reaction within Camilla's immediate circle as one of shock. According to a person familiar with the situation who spoke to Radar Online, Lopes had expected at minimum to receive one of Elizabeth's personal brooches. A piece with documented sentimental history. The expectation, this person said, had been present for 2 full years. William and Louise appear to have spent those 2 years building toward a different outcome, quietly, consistently, without announcing what they were doing until there was nothing left to announce. That is the alliance the public is now seeing for the first time. What this means for the balance of power within the Windsor family. The significance of what William and Louise have accomplished extends beyond any individual piece of jewelry. What has become visible, for the first time, is the existence of a quiet but durable coordination between the future king and the Queen's most understated grandchild. 2 people who, by all outward appearances, were simply living their separate lives were, according to multiple sources, working in deliberate concert toward a shared objective. That changes how we should read other moments within the royal family going forward. It raises questions about what other decisions may have been shaped by conversations we have not yet heard about. And it raises an important question about Camilla's position within the family as her stepson continues to consolidate his influence. Royal commentator Robert Jobson, writing in The Times, has observed that William's capacity for long-term strategic thinking within palace politics is frequently underestimated by outside observers. What we have seen in recent days, Jobson noted, appears to confirm that assessment. The story of Queen Elizabeth's jewelry is over. The story of what William and Louise built together, quietly and over months, is just beginning.